All right, we're starting in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the BurlyFishing podcast. I'm Jeff Burlingame here with my co-host Paul Glass, and we have a treat for you guys today on the show. We are talking to the Monsterbass man himself, Rick Patri. Rick, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Excited to get this rolling and loving just the backdrop. If you guys can see this on YouTube, Rick's showing us up. We're in our offices up in Michigan, and this guy's just hanging out in the sunshine, looking great. So this is going to be a fun show, guys. Again, if you like the show, be sure to subscribe to the BurlyFishing podcast. Check us out on YouTube, BurlyFishing, and social media, anywhere you can find us at BurlyFishing. But without further ado, Paul, let's get this thing rolling.
All right, the way we do our episodes, if you're unfamiliar, we like to start with a little roundtable question of the week. My question for this week is very simple. This is very simple, but it tells me a lot about your character, this is why the question's in here. All right, we're gonna learn about your soul.
Dangerous. It's a trap, Rick.
I'm gonna read too deeply into this, just so you know. All right, so what lure? We're talking bass specifically because we got the bass man on. What lure did you think would never catch a fish, but you've seen catch a monster bass?
It's so easy. This is the easiest one. I'll never forget when these guys brought me this bait, and they're like, "We want to suggest this for the box," because when we first started, like I was so hyper focused on making sure it was regionally specific, and you know it's got to be a solid brand. And they brought me the bait, and I looked at them and I'm like, "You guys are you're out of your mind."
You can say "goddamn mind." It's fine.
I'm not,
say it.
I'm not putting this in the box. And they said, "Here's the deal. We're going to go fishing tomorrow, and this is all you're going to throw for the entire day." And I was like,
accepted.
Salesman.
Accepted. And lo and behold, I was catching fish I had a great day on the water. It was the Savage Gear bat.
I was waiting for that. Yeah. I thought you were going to say that. That's so awesome.
And I was like, because, you know, I've been going to ICAST for years, and, you know, you've got Davy the duck and Billy the turtle, and it's like, okay, what farm animal can we roll out there that's going to win best in show, you know? And lo and behold, they came out with a bat, and I was like,
you gotta be kidding.
Thanks for playing.
But then once you get past it, if you forget the fact that it's the shape of a bat, it looks like that Gantarelle from Jackal, or is it the Pompadour? One of the two. I don't know. Either way, if I scribbled off the face of the bat and made it into that other bait, we'd all be like, "Oh yeah, of course, that's a great bait because it's Jackal."
Yeah.
But yeah, the bat.
So we've been talking about doing a gigantic hokey baits only episode on the YouTube channel. Like I'm only going to use, Jeff gets Danny the Duck because he has like 13 of them, but I'm going to use ducks. I'm like only throwing the 6-inch spider and nothing else.
Oh dude, the Phantom spider, I can't wait to fish that. I had it on, we caught some frogfish last time we were out, and I had the spider and I didn't think to tie it on. That was dumb. Should have done it.
True stories when it comes to ICAST. So a few years ago, you know, I don't know if you guys have been to ICAST, but everyone pitches their stuff, and then it becomes this giant political game. Costa always wins because they throw the sickest party. When I tell you the sickest party, they probably drop $200,000. It's open bar. You got to be on the guest list. You're eating crab legs. You're eating shrimp. You're eating and literally photo booths, and every hot girl in fishing.
I'm waiting to be invited.
Post a party. Like, in literally, like, if you're not on the list, they don't let you in. But everybody's on the list, and I'm telling you, it's $100,000 party easy every year. Every Thursday they throw the party, and you know, and then Live Target wins all the time. Live Target puts on a press release. Rivals things that like Cleveland Browns sign Odell Beckham Jr. and they got the table with every guy in their jersey lined up. They got the big screens. Like, to win best in show is like, you can't have the best bait. You have to put on the best show. And like, it's
classic.
Like they sent invitations to like hundreds of writers so that the room is full of writers, and And when I was at Lucky Tackle Box, they'd always send it to me, and because they knew like I would bring like 40 guys to iCast because that was one of the like the treats. Like, you know, be on my team, help me out. I'll get you into iCast because it used to be a lot harder than it is now. And yeah, so it's pretty funny.
So that's how you freaking win. That's how you freaking win. That's how Danny the Duck gets like best in show.
Yeah, Danny the Duck. Like, you got the biggest bathtub with the most amount of vodka. You can throw a party, and Danny will float his way to the championship.
Well,
yeah.
So anyway, so as I was telling you, one of the other things. So you talk about winning these things. 13 Fishing got really mad because one year they felt like they should win, and so the next year they showed up and they're like, big, you know, F you to the industry. They created this hat that had, you know, you had your beer holders, it had Velcro for your baits, it had little hook things. Like, they made this multi-purpose hat that was like the most ridiculous over the top thing, and it was meant to be a joke, and they won.
Sure.
They won Best Fishing Gift. Right? And they're like, see, this is proof that this is nonsense.
This is ridiculous.
And then with my friends at Lunker Hunt, my really good friend, like, I love Lunker Hunt. They're the coolest people in the industry. Like literally, if you haven't been to iCast, around 3:30, 4 o'clock, the booths get kegs. There's bands. And, you know, John Goldfarb, president of Lunker Hunt, super cool guy. He's got a keg all the time. And they just want to hang out with cool people that they like. Like, they're the best people to do business with. And I was asking about, like, the spider. I'm like, so how'd you come up with the spider? He's like, I just challenged our guy to come up with something that was different and innovative. And when the guy presented it, he's like, they thought it was a joke. And then literally, you know, you watch the movement of it, you watch the way it interacted with the water, and then they realized they were onto something that was going to catch fish and fishermen. And of course, you know, lo and behold, they're selling boatloads of them, and, you know, we're going to have a box, and I'm grateful that we can.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Good stuff. Paul, what's your absurd bait?
Dude.
You know mine.
So if you're new to fishing and the first time that you look at a spinner bait, that is like, it's like this big. It's like it's like a gigantic square, right? And it has the big shiny danglies, and it sort of looks like, you know, like it's got like a jig thing on it. But like, when you're new to fishing, that does not look like something that is food in the water. That looks like hardware that maybe you would use to like repair something with or whatever. And I remember like my first time someone gave it to me, and I was like, why the hell would you give me this? And then like 2 weeks later, I caught a PB on it. And then like 2 years later, I caught another PB on it because I started fishing them all the time. And then, like, you know, lo and behold, you realize, oh, like, everyone's using these because it's like one of the best bait styles ever made. But like, the first time you look at one, you're like, this could be jewelry or some sort of piece of mechanical hardware. And so yeah, I like, first starting out, I was like, there's no freaking way that this is actually sold in stores. No way.
Yeah.
All right, so I got to ask, though, what's your PB?
So I am a hardcore old man, and I do not track.
He doesn't weigh anything.
Yeah, I kid you not.
Stop it right now.
I know. I don't weigh.
I gotta go.
Okay, guys.
Oh no, I never keep track of anything.
It's ending. It's coming to an end. It is coming to a brick wall ending, like, in a big way.
Player's little bitch, like,
yeah,
you catch all the dinks.
Dude, I live in Dinktown, USA. That's what I do, and I just can't have anyone know about it.
All right, well, everybody knows about it now.
Everybody knows.
Too late.
So Paul's taking a hard turn on this. Like, we're both upgrading our boats. Paul's been in the same paddle boat for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. 5-6 years. No, like, doesn't have a bump board. He's never had any measurement tools. He doesn't do grip and grins. He doesn't weigh the fish.
He's talking crap to me. I know he is.
He's saying things bad about you, but we can't hear him because you just.
Oh, we can't hear.
Rick, repeat your trash talk, please.
Yeah.
All I asked was, you got hands. Can't you measure your fish with like 3 hands?
We've made one very small upgrade. My paddle has a measurement board on it, so I've been using that. But all this is changing like what, in like a week? 1 week?
For
I'm gonna
in a week, me Saturday, sucker.
Within a week, I'm gonna be going from
bump board scale. You'll be good,
dude. Just watch you. If you just keep an eye on YouTube, my entire life is about to take a big 360. And yes, that is a hint. If you're a kayak person, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, my entire life's about to change.
Hey. It's gonna be a big difference for sure.
I'm filming a show. Can you stop? 9 pounds of fury.
We accept all kinds. You can bring the dog on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Dogs are welcome.
No.
This guy.
Oh. All right, Jeff.
Dude, so I think you know mine, but my bait that I didn't think would catch anything is now my favorite bait, and that's the Ned rig. And I think it's just one of those things I was like, this is so dumb. So dumb. I had like a bag of the Z-Man plastics,
right?
In the copper truce, and I had the green pumpkin mushroom head jigs. I had a set, like I was ready to go. I picked it up because some YouTuber used it, and I was like, yeah, sure, that thing. And it just sat in my boat for the longest time. And then we went on a trip earlier than last. It might have been 2 years ago. I don't know. We went on a trip, found a really tiny pond. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to throw this thing. And I threw it. And that day,
fish.
We caught so many. It was ridiculous. I hope he brings his dog on. Right?
Rick is kicking his dog right now.
He's just kicking his dog.
Dude, I have the coolest dog. Like, I've never had a dog in my life. And I woke up on New Year's Day, a handful of years ago, and I told my girlfriend at the time, I'm like, I think I'm going to get a dog. And she looks at me and she's like, you've never had a dog in your life. I'm like, so how hard can it be? She goes, you need to do some research. You got to figure out what kind of dog. And I'm like, no. I'm like, watch The Master. So
Read a book.
I go to Lucky Puppy, this rescue place, and I sit down, and all the dogs are jumping all over the place. And this one little dog jumped up, sat down right next to me. I'm like, hey, what's up, little buddy? I pet him. All the dogs are jumping around. I'm like, oh my God, these dogs are annoying as crap. And so then I go to the next pin. They're all jumping all around. And I went back to the same place where I was, and there goes this little black dog, jumps up, sits down next to me. I'm like, this guy is pretty cool. And
my dude.
And if it doesn't work out with my girlfriend, like he's pretty cute. Like girls are gonna. So I walked out, and she's like, oh, thank God you're not getting him. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm going home to take a shower, because didn't you see the wall? They take your picture with the dog and they post it on Facebook. I got to look good for this stuff. Like, getting the dog, I'm like, hell yeah. So I get back. I'm like, if I walk in there and the dog jumps up next to me, I'm taking him. So I go back in, dog jumps up next to me, takes me. I let my dog out the front door. Truth, swear to God. I let him out the front door every day. I open the door, I let him out, away he goes. Every day. He makes his laps, he visits the neighbors, wanders around. Every now and then I get a phone call from someone saying, hey, I found your dog. I'm like, yeah, just let him go. It's totally fine. And he comes back. Every single day. I never, every now and then my neighbor will call and be like, your dog crapped in my lawn. I'm like, I'm sorry. But, I literally let him out every day. And everybody I know is like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, well, I've never had a dog, but he always comes back. So why shouldn't I do this stuff? And they're like, you have this big gated yard. I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't like the backyard. He wants to go out the front yard.
He wants some freedom.
Yeah, he wants freedom. He wants to read
butterfly.
Yeah, he wants to read the newspaper, right? He wants to sniff every bush in town and see what's going on.
Yeah, your dog is a dude that's
retired.
Sniff every
bush in town.
He's a retired dude from Florida. That's your dog. He just goes door to door.
You just need slippers.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, how's your day going? What's up? It just keeps walking.
Yeah. I take him on a walk. He's never on the leash. He just follows me everywhere I go. I swear to God, he's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chill. All right. Well, those are weird baits. What do we got next?
All right. Typically, we would do a weekly check-in. I'm going to avoid this because it's going to be unless Jeff wants to, but there's a lot of spoiler alerts in this week because
now you're freezing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paul, you're frozen.
Well, I'm taking over as the co-host, and so the check-in question is.
Paul's frozen. So
What is going on?
hang on, he's gonna fix it.
Hey, take your Commodore 64 fast
6 days, and I don't want to spoil it. Jeff, do you want to?
Oh man, he got booted.
No, I'm still on here. I'm still on here. Well,
Your picture just went away.
I know. I did that on purpose.
Now we got a picture of like a 12-year-old.
Oh no!
It's a 12-year-old with a sweet mustache.
The flesh stash. We missed everything you said, Paul, because you froze super hard for like 2 minutes.
All right.
So,
well,
what were you saying?
Rewind us back in time.
Rewind the tape. He's gone. He's lost. Anyways, I'll take over. So Paul was just saying that we're possibly making a big upgrade this weekend that'll be on YouTube next week. So that's what he's talking about. What's that?
What kind of upgrade?
The boats. I posted about it today on Instagram without really laying it all out. But yeah, the boats are getting upgraded. His is like a leap into the future because he's going from a Predator MX, which he's had for 6 years, which is a great boat, but he's going from paddle to, you'll see, a really, really nice kayak. So we're going to make a big jump this weekend, get that up next Monday. I can get that on Monday. So we'll do some big jumps.
Why are we talking about this before you make the purchase? Like, why are we not like saying, this is the one that I want. Can you get me a discount?
I mean, we know the ones that we want. We're going to a local marina and getting a discount there. But hey, man, do you happen to know anybody at Hobie?
Hobie doesn't do that.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, exactly.
I used to know. My friend used to be the VP of sales and marketing there, and I could have gotten you something. But yeah, Hobie doesn't honestly. They've got that brand cachet that the others are still striving for, and you may not even be the best kayak out there, but it's the Nike, and so you can charge what you want, and I don't know.
Ooh.
You don't like any of the Old Towns?
I am an Old Town diehard. I have an Old Town. I have 2 Old Towns, and I'm keeping one. Love Old Town boats, but here's the thing. 360 drive with kick-up fins. Unless you're going with a troller, you can't beat it. It is astronomical in cost. You cannot beat that.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, by the way, I have someone on my Instagram Live wants to buy your kayak that you just posted online.
Oh, really? I got like 6 offers the moment I posted it, and I was like, okay, where were you guys like 6 months ago?
Good stuff.
So yeah. Oh well. I'm not shipping that monster right now. Just UPS will just lose it, and then I'll be screwed anyways.
So bad right now.
Oh yeah, it's rough, but yeah. So we're making a big upgrade. So what were we saying, Paul? So we're saying this week we want to talk about what? If we're not a recap, we're doing a recap or what?
No recap. We did the video. Video is live. It's all out there. There's a lot of. I'm about to empty the bank account, which I'm totally okay with. I know that Jeff is.
Yep.
That being said, we're skipping straight to the show meet. So. The show me, just so you know, that's it is exactly how it sounds. That is the basis of what we're here to do today. So what we wanted to talk to you about was, first and foremost, the sort of the genesis of Monsterbass. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened right before, and then kind of what made you? Because you have we're gonna get into it a little bit, but you have a history of working with startups, working with companies both in the technology space, but also in the fishing industry. So talk to us a little bit about, as you're kind of hopping around, you end up in fishing company X, and then you decide at one point, I can do better. What makes you want to say, I'm going to make the better box and go with Monsterbass instead of, totally different project in a different realm?
Yeah. That's a good question. You did your homework. So yeah, I used to be in technology and software. I was VP. At one time I was like in charge of worldwide operations for a company. The company that actually started the internet, RAND. It's a giant think tank. And then I moved over to technology. I remember the day that my boss at the time flew down to Boston when I was in grad school and asked me to move to Vancouver, British Columbia, to help bring this software company public. And at the time, I'm like, I've been to Whistler. Trust me. I'll move to Vancouver anytime. I'm not married. I don't have to ask for permission. I don't have to uproot a family. Let's go. I lived in Vancouver for 9 years. It was the best 8-9 years of my life. Loved it. And because it's the sickest city. If you haven't been there, oh my God.
The views.
So good.
Stupid.
So I did that for a while, and then ended up moving to LA, which is weird because as a kid, I always told my parents I'm going to move to Los Angeles and go to USC. And then, of course, now that I'm in Los Angeles, I should have been saying UCLA all the time because USC is literally in the ghetto. Like, you go to school, pays, $60,000 a year or whatever, and you're in the ghetto. The classiest restaurant around campus is Chick-fil-A, and for good reason.
Yes.
Wait, are we talking trash about fish?
No,
like fish fillet? I mean, I just want to be clear.
I would never do that. So fast forward, I moved to LA, and I took a job, then left because the guy that ran the company was just an idiot, and he totally took advantage of us. So a couple of us got together and we started an agency, and we grew that agency to about 60 people, and then ultimately we sold it. But while I was there, these guys showed up and wanted to build a website, a fishing reports website, and they wanted to charge money for fishing reports. And I knew nothing about fishing reports. Now, I grew up in Syracuse, New York, on Oneida Lake. I fished as a kid. I liked it. I didn't love it. I still like it. I'd rather go golfing.
Oh, man.
And I'd rather, truth be told, I'd much rather go fishing on the ocean than bass fishing.
Okay.
But these guys want to build this website about fishing reports. And I was like, and they had like $200,000. And I was like, it's a lot of money, but I'm a giant believer in karma. And I didn't buy their plan. And I said, listen, I'm sure it's a good idea, but it's just not the idea I can get behind. So here's 3 other agencies. Go talk to them. And I sent them away. And I kept thinking about fishing, because if you gave my brother 1 day left on this planet, he'll throw in a dip. I don't know. He might smoke a ball. But he's definitely, without a doubt, going fishing. My brother loves fishing. And it's so funny, too, because I'll send him rods all the time. I have 50 rods, and they're $150 easy each and then up. And I'll send it to him, and he's like, yeah, whatever. I like my Shakespeare ugly stick. I'm like, okay, great.
There's my dude right there.
Right?
Nice.
And so you gave him 1 day left on the planet, he'll go fishing. And I kept thinking about how diehard he was. And this was back when ESPN owned Bassmaster. So I went, it was right around the time that the Classic was down at the Red River in New Orleans. So I was like, you know what? I can't get this out of my head. I'm going to go. And so I went down there, and it was I can't remember how many years ago, but it was really foggy. And there were delayed starts. There were all these things, and I knew nothing about it. And this is the way I would have told the story back then. I remember going to the arena for the weigh-ins, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, holy crap, this is like the WWF. There are fireworks. There's the Bassmaster, the Toyota Tundras going around, and the guy holding little 4-pound fish, and people in the stands with signs. And I'm like, what is going on? This is fishing. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then he'd get up and talk, and he'd be like, yeah, it was a rough day in the water today. The fog was thick, and if I didn't have that Triton radar system, and that's what I would have called it back then. I was like, Triton radar system, I wouldn't have been able to get there. And then the next guy would get up, he'd be like, yeah, I didn't have one of them, but I followed Jimmy. And every bubba on the planet's elbowing their wife, going, baby, I need one of them Triton radar systems for Father's Day. You got to get me one. And all I kept thinking was, you got the South riddled with double wide trailers and $60,000 bass boats in their driveway, and they want that Triton radar system, and they don't care what it costs. They got to have it. And they love bass fishing. And that's when I watched the product. It was all product marketing and the magic that is bass fishing, right? Like, because it's the drive to catch your personal best, because, you know, love this stuff. And I get it, right? I get it. You can create memories. You can be with your family. You can do things. You can be solo. You can do all these different things. But it was at that moment when I saw the product marketing magic that I was like, oh my God, this is for real. And then I sat there and I was like, I got this idea. I got this idea for a box of the month club. And then I was like, whatever. What do I really care? It's fishing. I don't really love fishing. And so I sat on it for 6 months. True story. 6 months later, Tackle Grab and Mystery Tackle Box started, and I saw this. I was like, shit! I totally whiffed on a good idea. So I went back. I tracked down those guys, and I said, I got an idea. If you give me the money, I'll build it for you. And so, lo and behold, I went and built Lucky Tackle Box, and at the time, like, it was a copycat because we weren't first, but I knew that this was my idea. Now, I can't say I'm the originator because I'm not. I sat on it, I whiffed, and they came out with it, and they had a really good plan. And, Tackle Grab went the way of bad forecasting, and they overbought. They spent too much money. They partied like kings, though. They partied like kings. And, sadly, CEO Stash, he passed away from cancer. But the benefit was the struggle for me was I could never find videos that I liked, because everybody was telling me a 15-minute super slow story, and I was bored out of my mind. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, I saw Travis Moran from Tackle. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I love this guy. I got to hire him. And so I hired him away from Tackle Grab. He came over to Lucky Tackle Box, and we were off to the races. And we're doing great. And then one year, we were like however many years in, 5 years in. And they asked me to come up with a plan for the following year. And at the time, I would say that Mystery Tackle Box was probably doing about 50, 60,000 boxes a month. We were probably doing about 30. And that wasn't bad. I felt like we were eating market share away from them. They were focused on the 14-year-old kid with the allowance. We were focused on, let's go upstream a little bit. Let's make better content. Everything's about content. And I presented my plan, and my owner looked at me and he's like, we're not going to make enough money. And I was like, okay. I'm like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to follow Mystery Tackle Box. And at the time, Mystery had that's when they created 10 brands, decided that they're just going to pop out a new brand every week. Their anchor brand's going to be the Guggen Squad, but we're going to create all this other stuff, and we're going to turn the box into more of a marketing plan for our own brands. It's not a bad idea, but it wasn't the idea that I wanted, because I felt like it didn't have longevity. It had tremendous power for early adopters, and if your plan is to sell the company right away, do it all day long. But if you're trying to build something with longevity, I think people are going to start to get sick of all the house brands. So I told them that I didn't think that was a good idea, and then I went on vacation. And at the time, I ran Lucky Tackle Box out of my house, the current house that I'm in. I have a dining room table that seats 10, and I have an office, and then I have a back house that my 14-year-old lives in. And so the back house, my 14-year-old didn't live in at the time. So it just sat there empty. We used it on the weekends for the boys. We'd go and, we'd have drinks, we'd watch games, do stupid stuff. And so customer service worked out of the back house. Marketing would work out of my dining room table and my office. That was it, 6 employees. And, we're a $10 million company working out of my house. And so I went away on vacation, and I remember 3 days in, all of a sudden the website stopped working. I couldn't log in. It wasn't working. And I was like, oh my God, this is weird. And so I finally called the finance guy who I battled with all the time. And he's like, I made a decision. I'm going to let you go. I'm like, what are you talking about? And now I'm on a road trip. I'm at my family's lake house. In Western New York, we have a house that's right near Lake Erie and then we have a lake house right on Chautauqua Lake. And so I'm there with, I was actually there with my son, his mom, and her fiance, who that's a whole different podcast. He's like my best friend, and I married them. And we're sitting there. So we're driving. He wanted to go to New York City for his birthday because he loves going to New York City, eating late at night. He's a foodie because he grew up solo with me. And we're on our way. We're stopped at a CVS, and I get the call that and he's letting me go. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I remember I'm standing at the side of the road. They're inside CVS, and I'm throwing up on the side of the road. I'm like, this can't be happening. I'm like, because you see the passion that I put behind Monsterbass. That's the passion I was putting behind Lucky Tackle Box. Like, this is my child. Like I wear a Monsterbass shirt 365 days a year, and up until that point, I wore a Lucky Tackle Box T-shirt 365 days a year. I was the brand behind the scenes. No one knew me, but that's what I did. And so he decided that he wanted to go the route of Mystery Tackle Box, but he didn't want to even try to develop the brands. Like, he would literally just go to China and say, I need a jerkbait, a crankbait, a spinnerbait, a buzzbait, whatever, and give me it for 40 cents. I don't care.
He's a buyer.
Call it Clear Lake Lures. I'm going to call it Senshi. I'm going to call it this. And I'm going to make each one of those $10 baits. I'm going to give you a fake MSRP. And people would buy this crap. And I was like, I can't do it. Right. Because I was like, this is such a scam. Like, we're ripping off people. And so I sat there. Now, the last part of the story is, I funded all of the I funded a lot of the operations. So
by operations, you mean like logistics,
all the bait
upfront purchase?
No, all the private label baits. I funded it, and it would extend payment terms to the company of 90 days. So I would buy the baits from overseas, and then let the company pay me back 90 days later.
And they were asking for 120?
No. And in return, the cost of money was like a nickel a bait kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I left, he decided he wasn't going to pay me back.
Oh.
And he owed me about $350,000.
Holy cow.
Right? And of that 350, 90 I had borrowed from my mother, and I've never borrowed money from my mother in my life. Like, I'm the overachiever in the family. Like, I went to college. I went to grad school. I got my master's. I stayed and got my second master's. I was gonna stay because I was having so much fun. I was gonna get my law degree, and then my father had to sit me down and be like, you gonna grow up? Or I'm like, why? I'm having so much fun. I got season 6 of the Red Sox. I'm like, I got the good. Because that's a whole different story too. Like, I took my tuition and put it on Yahoo at the IPO. True story.
Shut up.
Man.
I swear to God, we made so much money. We were going to Capitol Grill as kids. All the time.
My God.
All the time. Like, I had a pool on my roof in college. It was the sickest. Anyway. And so.
Wow.
So here I am. I'm out $350,000. And he said, I'm not going to pay you. And I'm like, I was like, wow. I was like, this is like really happening. And so I remember, like, I didn't tell my family because I'm on a trip for my son for his birthday. I'm in New York City with my ex-wife and her fiance, and I don't tell them because I don't want to screw it up. And so we visit my friend Peto, who is my roommate in college, and we hang out, we go to dinners, we have everything, and then we're on the plane, and my son and I flew together, and they flew together because we had to. I told him before I got the flight, and they were crushed because I had kept it from him for that long. So then I get home and I said, listen, I need you to take Maximus, who's my son. I need you to take him for a few days because I really had to think it through. And I sat in my backyard. And I'm probably the only guy in Los Angeles with a fire pit. You know, I go through cords of wood like most people like can't imagine. And so I drank a lot of vodka. I cried a lot. And
are we talking man cry, or are we talking sorority cry? Which direction did we go?
Probably both. Probably. And I sat there and I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, this was like my baby. And I wasn't even mad. That was the worst part. I wasn't mad. I felt hurt because they had taken away my kid.
Yeah.
So I sat there and I was like, all right, this guy's not gonna pay me back. I'm gonna strike back at the very way that he did to me. And so I went and I wrote a business plan. Mm-hmm. Went and I raised the money, and I knew that my word was good because I promised. Every time I ever promised something to a brand, I always held my word up. Like if I was going to be late by 5 days on a payment, I would call you and tell you. So I knew that I had some equity that I could parlay into this. So I went and I raised some money. And that was a whole interesting process. I raised money.
I gotta interrupt there because actually I have a question about that, because that to me is Tupac. Podcasts. Tell me a little bit. Okay, I guess my first question about raising the money. What percent of that is like groveling, and what percent of that is selling?
There's no groveling. That's not the approach I took, because I knew the industry so well that when I tell you the story and I tell you like how much, like, I know we're going to make money. This is why we're going to make money. This is the process. This is the downfall. This is what I learned in 5 years of doing this exact thing. I can't fail because of this. And to the day, short of COVID-19 happening, I hit almost every milestone marker that I put in place to the letter. COVID-19 only made it better, and I could never have projected it. Never.
Wow.
And so I sat in my backyard and I wrote a business plan. I made money. I raised money, and I went out and I said, if you're not going to pay me, I'm going to destroy you. And so I went out and I knew what I wanted to do differently. I wanted to regionalize the country, whether we're doing it perfect or not. We're never going to do it perfect. We're just going to do a good job. But I know the one thing we are going to do. My most important hire is going to be my customer service. We're going to have the best customer service on the planet. We're going to fix people's problems the way that I want my problem solved. Because listen, it's inevitable that you're going to screw up. Let's just do it right. And I think we do it right, because you know what? Shit's going to happen. It's how you respond to it. And there he goes. He's gone.
Doesn't take much.
It's all right. Just roll with it.
It defines you as a company. And so we did that. And lo and behold, I went to the companies and I said, listen, I know that I left. Lucky started tanking. They started owing everybody money. And I knew forever I'd be tied to that brand because it was me. And but again, my word was always good. So I was able to go to the Lunker Hunts, the Strike Kings, the Bagleys of the world, and get them to step up and be part of it. And I'm grateful that they did, and they saw the value. And again, because we do it a little bit differently, there are brands that are willing to do the Strike King takeovers and the Lunker Hunt takeovers, the things that like nobody else has done before. And so, the lesson for me has been like, I was always true to me. Like I never, I wasn't an asshole. I never lied to people. I stayed true to me. And in the end, like we're going to win, right? Because, we're already double the size of Lucky Tackle Box in a year's time. Like, we went out at we went out and tried to raise money just to be where we are, and COVID-19 has screwed everything up in a positive and negative way. Because here's the thing, right? Forbes did an article and talked about how fishing has grown. Actually, it was Ross at Mystery Tackle Box put out an article on LinkedIn talking about how, his VC is the guy that actually wrote it, and we're the winners from all of this, and that's been amazing. But the crazy down to inventory. So the demand is greater than the supply. So you're overpaying for the supply. And even if you're buying from overseas, you're paying more in shipping than the product's actually worth, which means I'm signing up crap tons of people, but it might cost me money to actually do so. So it's so weird right now.
Yeah.
But not for long, right? That sale means something, right? So
it does mean something.
You're cracking right into what I do for a living, and that definitely, like, you see that upfront cost, right? You see, like, oh, I'm paying expedited rate to make sure that I've got something in the box that's good, right? Like,
Sure.
you got to pay to get it there, and yeah, you're losing margin. Like, you're going negative potentially on some of those boxes.
Sure.
But you get those customers exposed to a better product, and where are they going to stay?
Yeah, they stay on for 2, 3, 8 months, and you don't care that you lost money the first month. But the interesting thing is your cost per acquisition of a net new customer right now is unprecedented. Like in the heyday of Lucky Tackle Box. And it's interesting because Mystery Tackle Box tried to buy Lucky Tackle Box.
Oh, really? Wow.
And they offered, it was a really interesting offer. I don't know that I'm legally allowed to talk about it, but what I can tell you is they disclose like their cost to acquire net new customers. And at the time, Lucky had their cost to acquire net new customers. So in the heyday of all of this, everybody's paying about $15, meaning I'm going to put up a Google ad. You're going to click to purchase. It's going to cost me about $15 when it's all said and done. Right now, you're paying about $8.
Wow.
Never has it been this low. Like, and so because it's this low, you're like, spend every dollar you can. Just spend it. And then of course, then it goes to me and I'm like, okay, well, we only bought 10,000 boxes. We need like 16,000. Nobody has 6,000 of anything laying around. So now you're trying to figure it out. Now it's like, well, the Western region has 14 different boxes. And then the challenge is like making sure that, because you can't put crap in it. So it's like, I'm turning away baits left and right that I can't put in the Western region because it's the wrong, they don't have whatever kind of shad it is.
No golden shiners.
And then, of course, I screw up, and then Patrick Bellinger calls me out, and he's like, you sent the perch to the south and the shad to the north. And I'm like, oh, I totally did. Like, I screwed it up. Because, and then he rips me apart, and I'm like, and then I got to go and call him out and then talk to him. And then, thankfully, this month's box was so good that he was happy. And it's quite the challenge because you're never going to make everybody happy.
So let me ask you this, because you actually talked about something I think is really important.
Mm-hmm.
What does that decision tree look like for the Northeast getting the jumbo perch or the pumpkin seed, right? Like what does that team, what does that decision tree look like for what goes into each one of those boxes? Because I think a lot of people appreciate what you're getting in that box, but like, what's the balance between, like, you got your buyer on one side who's like, well, I can get you, 1,600 of this version for X cost, but if you want the better one, it's a little more, but it's, maybe one that you want more. What does that push pull look like, and who makes those calls?
You could almost create a spreadsheet for every month, for every region, and say, I need these shapes, these colors, these sizes for the whole year, and just have it in front of you. And then try to buy to that spreadsheet.
But
you can't have duplicates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can only buy within a budget, because this is a margin. Like people don't realize. Like, people think like, oh, you're selling 10,000 boxes at $35 each.
You're crushing it. You're rich.
You're rich.
It's retail. No.
Yeah.
Like, hold on a second. I gave you a $15 discount, and it cost me $15 to acquire you. I got $18 in cost in that box. So right there, that's $30, that's $45, $53. $53 for my first month's customer, and they might walk.
Yep.
Right? And it's like, hold on, you guys don't understand. So the decision tree kind of looks like this. I kind of know the shapes and the colors that I want. I've got a handful of people in each region that I kind of trust. And they're like,
Wait, go back.
Spinnerbait, whatever. Go back to what?
We just missed you.
Handful of
Last
people
10
in
seconds.
handful of people in each region.
All right, so we got a handful of people in each region that are like, these are the baits, shapes, and colors that I would use this month.
Mm-hmm.
Try and get those. Well, now I got to try and get those, but I also have to do this months in advance. For example, I am currently trying to purchase my September box right now. And the hard part about this is, let's say you're forecasting 40,000 baits.
Yeah.
If I'm off by a little bit, for every thousand customers, you've got $18,000 in cost. So you screw this up, you can walk into your beautiful warehouse, look at all that stuff, and all I see is cash on the floor. And so
yeah,
forecasting is really important. And I would really, honestly, I'd rather oversell and be like, sold out, sorry, than be stuck with 10,000 baits. Because again, here's the problem. I got 10,000 baits. I got 10,000 3XDs. Well, I just put them in the box, so I can't send it to you again because that's a duplicate.
Mm.
I'm just aft. And so what am I?
I got to fish all of them.
Yeah.
Now we got to do a giveaway with 10,000.
Like no joke. I just placed an order today for 40,000 thunder crickets.
Mm.
40,000 thunder crickets.
That's the money shot.
But you're placing $100,000 purchase orders, and if you screw this up, your business goes down. So you got to be really good at forecasting, and then your team, right? So what happens is I'm like, we need these shapes. All right, I'm going to try and get them. But now you're playing with budget, right? Because let's just say a $35 box, let's say you're going to spend $12 on the baits. I got to put 8 items in the box for $12.
Have fun.
Right.
Easy.
They all can't be lead crampon weights either.
So the promise is, hey, sell me the product at cost. I won't charge you for marketing. Because everywhere else on the planet charges you for marketing. Yep. And there's no guarantee that anyone picks up your product, touches it, tries it, ties it on, throws it.
Mm-hmm. Catches a fish on it.
Right? But with us, I'll guarantee that 25,000 people are going to pick it up, touch it, tie it on, throw it. We're going to tell them about it. And if they have a successful day, they're going to buy it again.
Oh, yeah.
And so the challenge is you got to convince manufacturer ABC, who, I typically use the rule of 25. So if the MSRP is $8, the bait costs $2 to manufacture. And you can do this in every industry.
It's retail.
Right. So, but there are people that'll swear that, well, our bait costs $3. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I've made my own line of baits. I know what it costs. Stop it. I'm okay with you making a little bit of money, but like, you can't just blatantly make $30,000 an order. It's just, so it's really hard because I need the support of the brands. The brands need the support of me. I just need people to see the value in them play nice. And there are those brands like the Strike Kings of the world that totally get it. Strike King is a blessing. Like, I literally have the price list and a spreadsheet. I don't have to ask permission. I just send in an order 120 days in advance, whatever I want. I love them. They're the best to work with because they see the value. They know that if I put out 30,000 baits, that's 10,000 people. A third of them are going to post something on social media about the brand. It costs them nothing. Like, they get it.
Monsterbass Monday has retail value for sure.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. So, so work with a team, specify the shapes, the colors. Then I got to go out and try and get it. And the moment I make a decision is the moment I've committed a percentage of the budget. And then it becomes harder and harder and harder because if I spend on the home, because you got to have a home run bait in every box. You got thunder, like, no matter what, you can tell me the box sucks, but if there's the home run in the bait in the box, they're like, okay, great. So thunder crickets in the box, that eats whatever the margin is or the percentage is.
Percent.
Now you got to fill it in. And this is where the other companies, plastics, come in. Everybody loves to do the just put 3 soft plastics in the bag, right? If it costs me $1 a bag, they're like, you know what? Can you give it to me for 60 cents if we take 3 out? Because it's really easy to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I'm like, it's just like you look at the bag and you're like, this is just garbage. I can't tell somebody this is a $5 bag when there's 3 items in the box. Now I get the necessary evil of it, but at the same time, like, unless this is a brand new product launch where no one's ever gotten it before, it's a color that no one's ever seen, okay, take out 2. But to put 3 in the box, and I think this is where Mystery got hurt a little bit. Mystery for a long time was putting in, and they just said, like, sending out samples allows us to give you a greater variety and the opportunity to do this. I get it. But let's be honest with everybody, because everybody knows it's a margin game. You're trying to put more stuff in the box. So, and then the margin game turns into your own product line. So
well, no, then it turns into the trash game, because that's what people experience without understanding what they're experiencing. They are not seeing the business side of what it is that you're doing as essentially, a marketing / distribution company, right? They don't see that. They see what comes in the box. And like
as that in the box.
Yeah, and as that deteriorates because someone's trying to make 5 pennies more per box or whatever, they don't understand that piece of it. But then all of a sudden they get this, like, 2 years down the road of like, oh, I got 1 more penny. Look how good I did. I got 2 more pennies. Look how good I did. This is what happened. This is America at work. And then ultimately it gives you a crap product. I mean, that's exactly what happens. You're not getting what it is that you want.
It's a severe impact, I'd say, on the customer relationship. I guess the number one complaint you hear about boxes is like, I got a bunch of random stuff I would never fish. Novelty baits, sample packs, and really cheap feeling lures. And like that's the biggest complaints that I hear. But I mean, that's really what I love about your box, Rick. I mean, that's why I talked to you after I got that for a couple of months, man. Just it's good stuff, good quality stuff that I would fish is like the thing I say on my unboxings, which is funny because when I first talked to Rick, he was like, hey man, I hate unboxing videos.
I do.
But somehow I watched yours, and mind you, like my unboxing videos are like 30 minutes long. Just Mystery versus like Monsterbass, for example. And you watch that, man. I don't know how you got through it since you're not a big unboxing guy, because your unboxings are like 3 minutes. You just get the job done.
What are you supposed to do? It's like, all right, these are the baits in the box. Now I get it. You got to get 10 minutes for the YouTube algorithm. So I totally get it. But like, I have a really hard time with like the story. Like, I don't need a 10-minute story to develop. Just give me the facts. Take me through it. My time has a value. And this is probably the type A personality in me that
100%.
So it's like, oh my God, I got to watch a 28-minute like unboxing video. And the guy's going to talk to me about like, I don't know, but like somehow it gets views and people go from unboxing to unboxing to unboxing. I think the bigger, we talk about putting the right baits in the box. There's one thing that most people don't know that is like the biggest unknown, and it's a difficult thing, and there's actually 2 things. Like about 2-3 years ago, I think Mystery put a Whopper plopper in the box. It was the only time it's ever been in a box. And if you talk to them, they'll be like, yeah, no problem. That was a discontinued color. We sold it to them because we just wanted to get rid of it. And you have to then it becomes the question of, are you willing to put stuff that nobody wanted in the box? Now, the Whopper plopper might be the anomaly, because I think you could put the Whopper plopper in any color. Like, I think I could like take a marker and color it with like whatever and put any pattern on it, and people would like it. I honestly believe that. I thought about that one time. I was going to try and buy every discontinued one that they had, and I was going to like spray paint them weird colors, because
they would catch
plopper like Facebook pages, and the guys will go on there. If you've never been on there, they go on there like, oh, I found this one on eBay, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, it's got the Nike symbol on it, like
clown plopper.
Right.
Straight clown. I want that one.
boxers, they'll literally buy discontinued stuff, and I get it, right? For the brand, you want to dump all the stuff that nobody wants, and for the box, you want the cheapest products you can put in there. But if you're the brand, is that really how you want to be marketed? So that to me seems weird. And the other thing that seems to be weird to me is, and this is one of the hardest things about the boxes, take like Yozuri. I love Yozuri. I love Dual Hardcore, right? It's their other brand. You know, they're run by a Japanese parent company. The Japanese don't. It's a different market. They don't understand. That's why Yozuri, Megabass, and some of the other Japanese Evergreen. They don't see the market the same way that we do. And so what's weird is, like, I'll give you a good example. I could buy right now, I could put Dual Hardcore in the boxes. And that's a what is it? $12 bait. But depending on where you are in the country right now, I can get that in the bargain basement bin for $6. Why? Because they're doing a packaging change. The color's not changing, the components aren't changing, the paint's nothing is changing. They're changing out the packaging. So they go to the smallest markets, they dump the product, and you even see it on Tackle Warehouse. Tackle Warehouse, you can get Dual Hardcore right now for $7, but I'm going to still pay full price for it. But if I put it in the box, I can't, because Tackle Warehouse is where everyone's going to go to get the prices, and they're going to see a $7 price tag instead of 10 or $11. So it's such an interesting game that most people just don't get, because again, you can put Megabass in the box and everyone's jacked about it. And Megabass is only, a Megabass hardbait's only been in the box one time, and it was the one time at Lucky Tackle Box I put a discontinued bait in there. And I did so because I was like, we're never going to get a 110. We're not. It's the whole budget. But they offered me a discontinued bait. It's some stupid price. Like, the box was way over budget. We made no money on it. And but it was Megabass, and we got to say we had Megabass in the box, and the residuals off it were great. But again, where do you draw the line? And so the one thing I've tried to do is just like, let's just be really upfront, and we're gonna promote brands, we're going to introduce new brands to you, and we're going to have one brand of our own. That's it. Because it's hard. Next month, you're going to see me get really embarrassed, because I got 8,000 baits coming across the sea right now, and they'll never make it in the box.
Oh,
they'll never make
brutal.
it. You're going to never make it in the box, because I took a shortcut, and I said I'd never take a shortcut. I handed it out to people. People loved it. Everybody thought it was great. And I ordered them. I ordered 8,000 units. And I posted on my personal Instagram page. I said, who wants to see baits like this in the box? And one guy reached out. I won't mention him, but he's a really knowledgeable guy. And he goes, Rick, that's a knockoff.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what are you talking about? He goes, that's a knockoff of a Megabass bait that's sold over in Japan. I'm like,
no.
And I'm thinking to myself, I just bought 8,000 of these things. What am I going to do?
I think you got 8,000 friends that would take a knockoff.
I got 8,000 of them, and my message is, I'll never do this, right? And so I'm like, holy shit. So I my heart sank. He sent me pictures, and I was like, oh my God. And so, like, in a year's time of Monsterbass, I've only put 3 baits of our own brand in the box, because it takes a lot of time to do it right. Okay. And the one time I cut a corner, because the guy said, like, hey, we got this mold, and the company went out of business, and they're selling it, and I bought it and made them. And so now I'm gonna, I gotta find some charity. I'm gonna sell them at like $1 each, buy them. I'll donate it all to charity, but I can't put them in the box.
Dude, let everybody know. People want to hear that.
I'm totally going to. And then the other thing, I sat in a meeting and I said, listen, Monsterbass baits have to have the best paint on the planet. I said, if everybody thinks that 6 Sense is the best, we got to be better. I sat in the meeting and he's like, okay. I said, see this pattern? I love it. Make it better. Do you know how that translated? Copy it. Copy it. Oh. No, I'm not joking. I have 1,000 baits.
You have 1,000 what?
And I'm not even. I have to call. I got to call Casey at 6 cents and be like, listen, I didn't do this on purpose. It's an exact ripoff of your punch out.
Oh, you have 1,000 baits that look exactly like
exactly like 6 cents.
Oh
like
no!
He took this. They've got this purple and blue pattern. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I don't know what it is. It's like a purple and blue pattern, and like literally, my factory like copied it and put it on a different pattern.
You
I'm gonna call them.
better.
Yeah,
and they made it the same.
and so I'm gonna tell them. I'll be like, listen, I'll never sell these. I'm gonna dump them in the box. I'm so sorry. Like, I gotta come clean because I can't be a dick. Like, it's so like, because you literally can go online and you can be like, hey, any bait you want, there's a knockoff of it. And overseas is ruthless. It's ruthless. Yeah. And you know, I've never made baits, so this is all new to me. And I'm making all sorts of mistakes. And it's so funny.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Literally, like, I get drunk with my friends and I'm like, you guys want to? They're like, you're so good. Like, your videos are great. You guys are doing great. Your business is great. I'm like, you want to hear about how stupid I am? And it's like, shut up, for real. I'm like, no, I swear to God, I got 8,000 of these goddamn things coming across, and they are.
Oh no.
Dude, but people want to hear about that because that's like a genuine, like, I am literally out here. You know, your deal is like, I want to help you catch your PB, right? And your deal is like, I'm not gonna give you trash, right?
Yeah.
That's the deal. That is the deal. The deal is I'm gonna get you a goddamn box. You're gonna get a PB out of it at some point, and I'm not gonna sell you garbage. Like, you're getting good stuff, dude. Tell people how far you're willing to go to not do that. That says something. And dude. No one else is telling people that. No one else is out there be like, dude, I effed up. I just spent way so much money. I effed up.
I'm gonna get a bottle of Johnny Walker Black or what's I've been
Blue.
drinking. What is it? No. There's just some black, some weird barrel. I think it's Black Barrel. I don't know, some, and I'm gonna like probably drink a couple because I love to do like Instagram lives like late at night. Like, I always do the fork one for the kids, and then late at night
podcasts.
I'll do a different one. Oh my God, we get into some really funny topics. Like, we went down the road of substance abuse. I had no idea, like, all these people that I actually like knew in fishing that like had these problems, and we started talking about it, and like we went down for 3 hours. We're talking about substance abuse and like, you know, their battle with alcohol, and I was like, all right, well, maybe I shouldn't drink right now.
I don't need another one.
Right.
Just this is the last one. This is the last one today. No, that's great, man. I really appreciate the authenticity. I think that's something extremely important in business. And like my day job is business mentoring, and I work with a lot of very authentic people. And like that's one of the things we promote the most. Like, that's huge. Just be yourself. And like, that's something Paul and I are very serious about. Like, if you see us on YouTube, that's us. Like, we don't pretend. We're not being anybody else.
You can tell because I always sound dumb. Like, oh, that guy's an idiot. Well, I'm just being myself.
We're just being ourselves. But yeah, it's huge. I think it's extremely important. And yeah, I saw on your Instagram just a little bit ago, you were talking about that. You were talking about this deal, so I had an idea of what you were about to dive into, man.
So dumb.
What happens, right? Like, I think that's the other end of it too. Is like how I think people honestly look at the boxes sometimes, like especially people new to it, and they're just like, oh, you just went down the fishing aisle and we're like this, and like with you and Paul talking about the idea tree a little bit ago, like that's just it. Like, there's so much more that goes into that. What time of year is it? You guys have the regional boxes, which I think really sets you apart from other brands. But like that, you're thinking seasonally, you're thinking where we're at in the country. Like, there's so much more that goes into that. And then you just got into the actually buying the shit part of it, which is
buying the part's the worst.
Oh man, there's so much more to it, man. So I think this is huge. I think I really appreciate hearing the inside knowledge here.
I have to say this though. I think we've been beating around the bush a little bit because what people really want to know is who the hell is designing the stickers and how do we get them a raise?
Isn't it multiple people, Rick? I feel like it's been more than just one person. He's got a secret. He froze on the secret.
I would say the most. Me. Are we frozen?
You froze right on the secret.
No!
Tell me more. Go back and tell me more.
He does a countdown. He gets frozen. He tells the secret. He gets frozen.
So let's go to the Monsterbass Mountain Dew logo, right? Yeah. Arguably my most popular one. I told everyone. I put it on my Facebook, and everybody was like, "Nah, it's a dumb idea." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "It's dope." I'm like, "I would wear that. It's cool as shit." And even my mother's like, "Nah, stick to your brand." I'm like, "What do you know? You're a teacher." I'm like, literally. So I made it, and every employee of mine was against it.
Oh man.
So much so that my finance manager, Rochelle, is like, I won't wear it. I'm like, okay. She's like, and I won't let my boyfriend wear it. I'm like, okay. Like, I know what people want. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to do it. And then I started reaching. So I made it. And then I started reaching out to like Instagram, and I said, hey, who wants to design me a sticker? And then the one with the mask came out, and some kid just designed the sticker. And now I'm going to do a whole thing with like design your sticker and get it made, and you can have 10% of whatever we make. I can't tell you, like, people go online and buy like 30 stickers at a time. It's the craziest. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Craziest.
We got this one. This is what you're talking about right now.
Okay, so that one, I was like, how can I Googled, I literally Googled the picture of a fish holding a beer. And that was the only picture I came out. I'm like, this is so dumb. He's wearing
the best.
And I was like, so I sent it to a guy, and I literally took a screenshot. And I said, hey, take this screenshot, wrap a border around it, and write, the only good Corona is an empty Corona or something like that. And he's like, okay. And,
sure.
And he did it for me. And he's the 14-year-old brother of a friend I went to college with. And then I sent it off to this place, and I said, make 10,000 of these. And they're like, okay. And I put them in the boxes, and like people were losing their minds. Like, I didn't get the Corona sticker. This is bullshit. And I'm like,
you're right. It is bullshit.
like coming from the guy that actually got the coronavirus, you don't want it. So like, let's let this go. It's just a sticker. No, I need my sticker. I can literally, like, if your box doesn't come with a crankbait, you might complain. If your box doesn't come with the hooks, you don't care. But if your box doesn't come with a sticker, you lose your mind.
Lose your mind.
Unbelievable. It's a sticker.
Those are all the same people that are watching these 30-minute unboxings.
Right.
Cheers. Cheers to them.
Yeah, cheers to
they're
them.
Supporting me on YouTube.
100%.
And they're the same ones that would listen to an hour and a half to 2 hours.
I know. We love those people.
God.
That's what I'm saying. If you're trying to tell me that you deserve a raise, I think you've just made your case. Good job.
Thank you. I gave myself one today.
There you go.
Nice.
All right, man. I think we're up against our typical time. Jeff, you got anything else that we want to plunge the depths on?
Tell me. Here's one. No. What's the one question on the sheet that we never got to that you want to ask right now?
Ooh, the most burning possible question, Paul.
Ooh, Paul.
All right. This is where we get into the you said anything goes.
Yeah, anything goes.
So I did do my research, and it looks like 4 years is about the point where you get the itch where you're like, I got to get the hell out of this business and do something different. For one reason or another. So
you're a man about behind my own heart, by the way.
You're about a year and a half in. In a couple years from now, when you hit that 4-year mark, what comes after Monsterbass?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, I'm gonna make so much money that I'm gonna then go back to like one of my first. So I used to teach first grade, and I was the best kickball player on the field. Like nobody could dominate me the way that
I. Like no first graders or.
Well, yeah, I'm a first grade teacher, so
bro.
No joke. I used to have this kid in my classroom. I called him the shirt eater. He had this oral fixation. He would eat the shirt all the time like this, to the point where it would be down to here and it'd be all wet. And I remember my very first day as a teacher, I walked into the teacher's room and everybody's bitching him out. I was like, oh my God, I'm never coming back here. This is the worst. And so I decided I was going to sit with the kids every day for lunch. And then I was like, wait a minute, why am I paying for lunch? I was like, listen, you're doing such a good job. Tell your parents that, like, tell your mom that, like, you did such a good job. She should pack a special lunch. And you know, it's a treat. You get to sit next to me at lunch. We get lunch. And so mom would get all dolled up. She'd come into school because it was in an affluent community in Boston where all the parents walked in. So mom would get all dolled up. She'd bring in lunch and it was amazing. And then I was like, well, I got a second seat on the other side. So I was like, all right, you did such a good job. Tell your mom to bring in dessert. And so every day I would have like the best lunch. And then I go to the playground with my class, and I would play kickball every day, and I'd line them up, and I took no mercy. I would kick the crap out of that ball. Now, one day I remember I kick one, and it's a line drive about 2 feet off the ground, and I see this kid, and it's just going straight towards his stomach, and it just pops. I'm like, oh no!
Wrecked him.
Yeah, just
merciless.
But I guess that's the long way of saying, like, if I had like boatloads of cash, I'd do a lot of good things. Like
kick kids in the stomach with a ball.
That's the best thing you could do.
Like I go to Santa Monica, and like whenever they make Monsterbass shirts, I have a thing for the homeless. For me, it's really effed for me that here in this country there's so many homeless people, and so I go to Santa Monica and I would say half the Santa Monica population looks like they are supporters of Monsterbass. You know, like they had a surprise birthday party for me, and 20 minutes before that I had to leave for it. I was sitting under the underpass of the 101 with 50 cheeseburgers from McDonald's, just sitting there with them. And so I'd probably use my time for the homeless and for little kids, because I think there's a ton of kids that grow up in single family homes where they just miss the father figure, and they just lack that, and it messes them up for the rest of their lives. And I think that this country doesn't do a lot for homeless, and so that's probably what I would do next. I would probably take all the money I hope that I'm gonna make, and then just like do some good in the world.
Dude, I love it. I can appreciate that. Like, get to a point where you can give back more. That's huge.
For sure.
I just signed up for more Monsterbass so I can support the dream. I love it, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Did you get a box?
Right. Why do you think I turned off the video?
Don't say that right now. You did a screen share on accident during the You were buying a Monsterbass. You'd be like, oh, look, Rick, look what I'm doing.
I'm always myself. I do dumb stuff all the time.
Wait a minute. Why'd you use the 50% off code? Why'd you pay full price?
Bro, pay full price.
I did the 60% off. I Googled it.
Where'd you get that? Oh, my gosh.
All right. That was my last question. That's what we got for you.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wait. I get one last one.
Oh, go ahead.
I get one last one.
Yeah.
So Monsterbass is fresh year, just past the fresh year. Just had your birthday, man. What's next for Monsterbass? Screw what's after Monsterbass. What's next for Monsterbass? Where do you see the company going in the next 12, 24, 48 months?
Yes, that's a good question. So I do see the Monsterbass line of baits carried in every major retailer across the country. I think there's an opportunity to have a $9 box for kids that are really new to fishing, because they don't need a $15 box. It's not about stuffing their tackle box. It's about, this month's box has, I'm making this up, 3 different spinner baits. And here's the videos on how to just fish spinner baits. And it's designed for kids that want to get into fishing and want to really learn how to do it, because they watch the videos of their heroes. Like, they watch Andrew Flair, but Andrew's really not teaching them how to fish, right? Like, and there's a giant segment of the market. Like, I know this, and nobody's touching it. And I think that there's so much opportunity to address that market from a couple different points of view, from a father and a son, the 6 to 9 range. I think there's an opportunity for the 9 to 12 and again, it's all about how to get into fishing, because you know what, dad wants to take the kid fishing, but dad may not be the best teacher because teaching's hard, right? Like, listen, I'll teach you, but I'm not going to teach my kid, because I don't have the same patience for my kid that I do for like somebody else.
Nobody does.
And
Nope.
I think that from a corporate standpoint, brands want to reach that audience because they know they'll buy their first rod, they'll fall in love with fishing, and they'll spend money, and away it goes. And so I've lined up 2 people that are totally on board with this for 2021. We're looking for a couple other people that want to be like, I want to be on board, I want to make content, I want to be a part of it, because I know, like, listen, not wrong very often when it comes to branding and packaging, and it usually comes down to execution. I usually screw it all up on execution because I'm like, I don't know if Lucky Tackle Box is a good idea. Let's just sit on it for a little bit, and then someone else takes it, and I'm like, God damn, I screwed up. So I think the little kid is really important. I think that we'll probably offer a multi-species box, only because the thing you got to look at is you got to look at subscription fatigue, and at some point people get tired of the same thing, and they just want to mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to have a crappie specific box, because then you got to have a bass and then crappie or a panfish. I'd rather just offer this plus a multi-species. And then I think what we'll do is we'll roll into non-endemic. Like, I could probably sell a crap ton of beef jerky right now. Tons, and do nothing.
Dude, it's called the Weekender box, and I'm buying the hell out of it.
Yeah. And so I've just got to figure that out. But again, I'm trying to do this in a way like that is very startup conscious. Like, I don't have an office. I don't want an office. I want to try and be work-life balanced, because I wasn't in the past. I mean, I drove my kid to school every day. I picked them up every day, and I was very fortunate. But I also can hide and work. And I think as men, we often can use work as is not an escape, but a place to hide from the everyday challenges of life, relationship, family, and things that prevent us from really living our best lives. And for me right now, my focus is I want to live my best life. And it's not about just having tons of money. It's about like really having solid relationships, and connection with my partner, and connection with my friends, and being able to really experience life the way that it's meant to be. Because there are lots of people that go through their lives, and there are less people that live their lives, and I want to live my life. So I don't know,
dude. Knowledge bomb right there. We're just gonna end this podcast on that note. That was fantastic, man. I appreciate it. Hey, man, we really appreciate you coming on here, talking with us today, spending the time.
Give away some stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's give away some stuff.
If anyone's even here.
Touche.
We're gonna give it to the 120 people that watch this thing next week on YouTube. But no, man, let's run a giveaway. I mean, by the time this thing airs, it'll be next Thursday. We can run something for like 1 or 2 weeks.
How about we do this? How about for everybody that shares the link to this podcast, they're automatically entered in for a chance to win a big giant box full of baits. Like I mean, I don't know, a couple $100 worth of baits. I'll just randomly grab all sorts of crap from the office, throw it in a box, and so when we post this podcast, here's what you got to do. You got to share it across social media, and every person that shares it will enter you in for a shot to win this. Does that sound good?
Hell yeah, man. I'm on board. I think people are participating in that. I mean, you told us you got a living room full of baits, so I'm pretty excited to see like what the heck.
My girlfriend would never let baits in the living room.
Oh, I'm sorry, the dining room.
Yeah.
My bad. They're on the table.
Right.
Okay, awesome, man. I appreciate it. So you guys heard it here. You got to share that link for the podcast and potentially be entered in here to win a whole big old box full of baits. We don't know what's in it. It's going to be just a grab bag of goodies, man. And I mean, I'd be pumped for that any day, man. That's awesome. That's a deal. So yeah, appreciate you being on and appreciate the giveaway, Rick. So that's fantastic. We'll definitely promote the heck out of that, and I'm sure we'll do that through Monsterbass too. So fantastic time today. If you guys liked the podcast, be sure to subscribe, drop us a 5-star review, and throw us a comment. Let us know what you want us to do on next upcoming episodes. Let us know just ideas for the show going forward. And Rick, where can people find you? Where should they be? Obviously, subscribe to Monsterbass. Duh. And where else?
If you want to find me on Instagram, you can look me up at rickerlove.com.
Oh, yes.
I will pontificate all sorts of random nonsense and most likely find you late at night online. So look me up. You can find me at Rick Patri. It shouldn't be very hard.
Nope. You can find them for sure. And then follow Monsterbass everywhere, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you know it. Hit them up, follow that stuff, and follow us at BurlyFishing anywhere on social media and the BurlyFishing YouTube channel. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you out on the water.